Mr. Chairperson, we would like to call Nancy Xathula. We would like Nancy Xathula to come and take the stand. I would like to welcome Mrs. Xathula. When other people were giving evidence, especially when Miss Langa was giving her own evidence, the name of Leo Xathula was also mentioned. Many people sacrificed their lives, and you are one of the women who suffered in South Africa. You also sacrificed for this country, for its liberation. I am going to allow you to take an oath. Duly sworn in, states. Thank you. We greet you, Mrs. Xathula. We want to apologize for keeping you for quite a long time. We know that you are not very well, but we want to show our gratitude for your patience. We believe that you are going to give evidence about your son who was here at UNITRA. You last saw him in 1983, if I am not mistaken, and then you saw him again when he was already deceased. You received the information that he was killed by the police of the old regime in the Transkei. We would like you to give us a picture of who was Leo and then give us some background. We would like to know much about you. I am Tombi Sonkie Miss Xathula, and I was married to the Honono family. Out of my 9 children, Leo was my firstborn. He was brought up here at Mthatha by his aunt, and he also attended school here in Mthatha. He passed Standard 10 in St. John's College. Leo used to disappear, and we would not know his whereabouts. But I heard rumors because I had some information that he was involved in some activities. In 1981, Leo disappeared permanently, and we learned that he was in Cape Town, but nobody ever specified where exactly he was. In 1982, my sister came to report that Leo is nowhere to be found. I heard rumors from one of the gentlemen who used to talk about him. It was Pandile Gisan. I came here to Mthatha and I tried to locate this gentleman. Fortunately, I saw him when he was just following me because he saw me also. We talked and discussed, and I wanted to know what was going on. He used to say young aunt when he addressed me, and then he said, I would go again. I am here, but I am now employed. I will come back again after a long time. I will be working at the sea. Again, I realized that Leo was thinking of doing something. I said to him, please communicate even if you go wherever you go. Please maintain contact. He disappeared. In 1983, he went to attend one of the ceremonies, which was an initiation ceremony of the other boys in the community, and that was the last time when he bade farewell to me. My sister said the police used to visit him. They usually wanted to know whether they knew where Leo is. I was surprised, but I did not take much consideration of all that was happening. I did not inform them of what was happening, even my family. In 1988 June, one girl, Nokuku, called me on my way from school. I was a teacher at the time. I was teaching at Kumbu. This girl, I knew her to be Impisana, but during the reign of Matanzima, most of the children would change their surnames and would go and pretend to be related to the Matanzimas. I was surprised because Nokuku also said she was Matanzima. Nobody knew that she was Impisana family. Many youth were always communicating with this girl, and she used to pretend as if she had befriended them. I met this girl again, and she asked me when I last saw Leo. I said I last saw him quite a while ago. West Coast and at Bizana. This girl said, please hide his photographs and just tell them that all the relatives that have the photos should hide them because he is wanted. This perturbed me for quite a long time. We learned that there were people who were terrorists. We all knew that the people who used to cross the borders were labeled as terrorists. I was also having the impression that Leo might be amongst those people who were alleged to be terrorists. In June, at the same time, I met Nomabuta, who is my sister. She was with Mrs. Goni, who is Miss Makipi, also a teacher here in Mthatha. They came to Kumbu, where I was staying. I could assess that they had brought bad news, and I asked them because I was not familiar with them. I did not always have visits from them, so in the end, they said, we must come and tell you what happened. They said there is a young man who is killed. There is a policeman who is boy, and this policeman claimed that it was Leo who was killed. He had to be identified. The first question I asked was, why did they come to you? She said, I do not know. I asked, did you come to report officially, or did she just come because she was in Kanduli because my sister was married there? She said, I am not quite certain that this was an official report. It was said there was an unrest in Bizana and then he died there. I did not know what to do, and then during that period the people were collected. When I looked outside, I could see that there was one gentleman in one of the cars. It was a white Skyline, and I said I must try to find out much from this lady. I did not believe that Leo is dead. I asked, whose car is this? He said, no, boy gave this to us. Who is driving? It is Black Cat Nombanga. He was a policeman in the security department. They told me the day when we were supposed to go and identify Leo. My sister and Miss Makipi left my place, and I asked the people to be with me for quite a while because I wanted to make some telephone calls. I did not even know to whom I should report this. I did not know with whom I should communicate. And I knew that the minute you have people who are labeled as terrorists, you were also regarded as a dog. I thought for a while, and I thought of this Dumisa Nsebeza. I have never met him, but I just learned that this Dumisa was also being arrested. I knew that he was a lawyer. I just wanted to know how could I meet him. I took the directory and looked up his telephone number. Fortunately, I could get the telephone number. It was a bit late. I phoned him at home, and then I was asked who I was. I identified myself, and then I was given information that I should wait for 7 minutes. A few minutes thereafter, I phoned again. He answered the telephone. He wanted to know more about me, and then we communicated telephonically. He asked me, did I know the office where they were working? I said, no. He even asked, do you know me personally? I explained that I never met you. He said, no, you cannot communicate everything telephonically. I just mentioned that there is this nephew of mine who is now late. Very early in the morning, I went to the office. I waited for him, this Nsebeza. One young gentleman came in. He was dressed in denim. I did not even recognize that it could be Dumisa Nsebeza. And then I asked him from the others, and then I was informed that it was this lawyer that I wanted him. Then we discussed, and then in the end I said I would go and identify Leo. We found this black cat. One of his friends, the friend to Leo, was also a runaway because he was wanted by the police. A member of the panel would like us to go back so that they do not disturb further. They asked if she knew when he disappeared and where he used to go. Mrs. Xathula confirms she knew because he was involved in the struggle. The panel asks about the sister who was in Mthatha, with whom she was staying, and Mrs. Xathula replies it was Nama Butler, who is still at her place. The panel inquires about the body identification, and Mrs. Xathula explains she travelled with Mrs. Goni in a security car, borrowed by Black Cat. They visited her twice with the car. Mrs. Xathula recounts how they were ordered to travel together, surprised by the freedom songs played by the security officers. They reached Bizana, but were forced to go to the security officer to know Leo's whereabouts. Black Cat claimed Leo was hit by a stray bullet during a skirmish. The panel asks if she was told who shot her nephew, and Mrs. Xathula confirms, mentioning Aga's mother and another lady who asked her to identify their sons too. Lizzo, one of the children, is now in a wheelchair. At Bizana, she confronted the officers, who insisted it was a stray bullet. They were looking for someone codenamed Zola, but her nephew's codename was Zolili Mesekwa. His real name was Mfundo Faku. After leaving the security offices, they went to the mortuary. Mrs. Xathula describes the identification process, seeing a stout body with exposed feet, realizing it wasn't Leo. Black Cat advised her not to cry to identify properly. She identified Leo by his feet, hands, and a scar on his forehead. She noticed signs of hanging, fractures and scars, but received no answers. She insulted the officers, demanding answers about Leo's injuries. Mrs. Xathula saw other bodies, later identified as those with Leo when he was shot. She recalls being denied access to Leo's body for burial, offered a pauper's burial, an R50,000, which she refused. The government claimed ownership of the body, and she was warned not to lodge complaints. They insisted on conducting the post-mortem themselves. The panel asks about Ndabisa, the policeman from Bizana, now promoted and possibly on pension. They discuss the funeral arrangement, and Mrs. Xathula recalls being denied access to the body, with Dengana blocking the process. They struggled to have their doctor, Dr. Clarkman, conduct the post-mortem. Lawyers helped and arrangements were made for the post-mortem, but Dr. Clarkman was delayed and the post-mortem was done without them. The results showed Leo was shot dead. Mrs. Xathula received summons addressed to Nomabata Xathula, likely to create conflict with her sister. She informed her sister to distance herself from Black Cat and others. They were given restricted orders for the burial, including the number of attendees and time limits. The funeral was heavily policed, with attendees assaulted and the coffin searched for grenades. Comrades and colleagues of Leo faced severe disruptions and assaults. During the funeral, Mrs. Xathula was ridiculed and her children were assaulted. The coffin fell and the corpse was mishandled. She was threatened with arrest but defended by Mulowa, who questioned who would bury Leo if she was taken. The funeral was chaotic, with police and defense force interference. The Reverend couldn't continue the sermon due to disturbances. Mrs. Xathula mentions those assaulted, including Songabile Manutwa, now a Minister of Parliament, and others. The coffin wasn't properly covered with soil, and the police caused it to fall. Her children were also arrested, and she found them tortured in Kumbu. Kwesi suffered severe injuries from police torture. The panel asks about threats, and Mrs. Xathula recounts police threats to pick her sons one by one, leaving her for last. She believed them, as police insulted her during the post-mortem wait and harassed her during court proceedings. The results showed Leo was shot while lying on his back, with the bullet passing through his kidneys. 17 policemen were identified, including Wilson Tambo, who was later addressed as Major. Despite being identified, no prosecutions were reported. The case was moved between locations, causing confusion. Mrs. Xathula's son Kwesi was shot in 1992, still carrying a bullet in his knee, with no prosecution for the police involved. He was shot again in 1994, now suffering from epilepsy. The police, including Loisi Madinki, were identified but not prosecuted. Another son was shot and killed in Solo in April 1994, with no follow-up on the case. Mrs. Xathula's daughter was also injured by police while expecting a baby, forced to roll and frog jump, leading to complications at birth. Another child died in December 1994, found drowned in a swimming pool with signs of assault. Mrs. Xathula wasn't allowed to attend the post-mortem. The panel asks why Mrs. Xathula is here and what she wants the commission to do. Mrs. Xathula seeks investigations into Leo's death, the orders given to Mthatha, and why there were no prosecutions. She questions the current government's honoring of perpetrators and calls for justice and repentance from those responsible. She wants the commission to investigate and hold the perpetrators accountable.